I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. Kiara Fordel joins us. Hi.
Hello.
Appreciate you coming on. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
All right, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Kiara Fordel. I am a Swan VTuber streaming on Twitch. I am a variety streamer, though specializing in gacha games.
And an incredibly talented person besides, and we'll talk about that a little bit as we go along. But how did you get started in VTubing?
How did I start in VTubing? So the long story short is that prior to this, I was just a streamer, so I didn't have like any gist to me. And then one day I was speaking to my one of my best friends, about how to expand and how we were gonna grow from there. And she said, "Have you considered like showing your face?" I said, "No, thanks. I'm not interested in that." And then she said, "Oh, what about this?" And she sent me a video, ironically, of VTubers, and I was like, "Hey, that's cool. What is this?" And she's like, "Oh, do you remember like Kizunai?" And I'm like, "No." Like, and then she was like, "Oh, Hatsune Miku," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So she's basically a controlled character, a person who has like something that has like physical movements, but you don't have to show your face. And she's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what that is."
So that appealed to you then?
To admit, the whole concept of when you're a girl on Ice and you want to go on to a Twitch channel, before you stream, you have to put on, like, if you're going IRL, you're gonna have to put on like makeup and stuff like that. And I'm just like, no thanks. Can I just stream in my pajamas? Like, and then this allows me to stream in my pajamas. Yeah, everyone, I stream in my pajamas, guys. Deal with it.
I don't think anybody has anything to say about it, because they're probably sitting around in their sweatpants and watching anyway. So they have absolutely nothing to get on you about it as far as that's concerned. But you got into it. Were you already gaming online, or was it something that you? How did you jump into it after finding out what it was all about?
Into it. Okay, so I was already streaming for about a year by the time that we released the 2D model. So the whole concept of it was very simple. Obviously 2D models are expensive and they take time to do. So I was already streaming like as just a voice, a random voice in the middle of nowhere. And then the thought process came about. It's kind of like, it would be nice to be able to show a bit of emotion on screen without just leaving my voice to do all the work.
Right.
And that kind of came into like the whole concept. Oh yeah, let's get a VTuber model that can actually make my actually facial expressions a bit better. And then that came about. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And it took about, I think I spoke to a rigger and an artist, and those are my friends, by the way. And it took them about 6 months combined. So we actually had the thought in like March, something like that, and then we debuted the model in something of November.
Cool. So you had this. You came in with a plan. Didn't you just jump in and jump in the deep end and try to swim. You had this thought out before you started off with your model.
I mean, here's the thing. I live in Malaysia, so it's actually it's not cheap for us here and like to own a VTuber model. So just to give you a perspective of how cost ineffective it is. Let's say that we want to get a rigger to kind of like and an artist to kind of do this model. USD would probably be like $200. Okay.
Right.
For us it's 600.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna jump into something like this without the thought process of, if I jump into this, then I guarantee wanna like do this for serious. Like, I really want to be serious about this because it's a lot of money. And I'm not saying that Malaysia's not the money. It's just that for me personally, it was a very big deal because at the time I was studying and I was working at the same time, so it was quite a big commitment. So when we got this model, I was like saying, if I'm going to get a model like this, and if I'm going to pay somebody to do a model like this for me, I am going to be very serious about streaming. We're going to keep streaming at least for a year after this, just to like make the most out of the cost,
Oh, cool. I mean, have you always been somebody who wanted to be an entertainer or someone out in front of the public?
Enough. And this is something that my chat won't will never believe me. Nobody will ever believe me when they hear it. But I'm pretty introverted in real life. Like so, like when I'm on stream, it doesn't sound that way because I'm so freaking chaotic. But off stream, I'm really like super quiet, and I really like I'm not really talkative at all. And a lot of friends know this about me. I usually I mean with my best friends, obviously I will talk a lot, but I actually started off as a dancer. So when I was younger, my when you were a kid, that kind of thing, your parents sent you to like ballet classes and stuff like that, and you had this whole process of yeah, I want to be a ballerina when I grow up. I actually made it there,
Whoa.
but the problem was that I had an injury that was like life ending, and it was kind of that concept of I don't know how to move on from there, and I still wanted to dance.
Your chat didn't believe you, doesn't believe you, but you're actually kind of introverted when you're not streaming.
I am, and it's so funny to hear because a lot of times my chat are like, because I'm so chaotic on stream. I'm like here and there and everywhere else. Then my chat has difficulty believing like, yeah, Kiara is actually really really quiet off stream. If you met me in real life, you never believe that I was that kind of like I was that kind of person that would just sit down and listen to a conversation for 2 hours.
Well, I mean, it's is allowing people. This particular medium is allowing people to bloom and blossom a little bit, and kind of get over some of those things. Maybe not completely, but has it been a little easier for you to come out of your shell since you've started streaming?
Actually, yes, because when I started streaming, I was really quiet and I was still really shy. But over time, as we got into streaming and I got used to like speaking out in public and stuff like that, I actually I used to have this deep fear of like public speaking,
Mm.
like to the point where I was so scared of just speaking out in public, and I would just be like shaking if I were to ever do something like say hosting and stuff like that. But ever since I did streaming, I've been getting opportunities to do like casting, emceeing, hosting, and that's not on stream. That's in real life.
Mm.
And I've been able to do those things, and I found it was super easy after that for me to kind of come on my show and be, hey guys, oh my gosh, it's such a good day today. And I found such a passion for that, honestly. And I'm currently like sometimes doing that IRL.
Well, that's cool. That's great that you've been able to not just use this to express yourself, but kind of get over some of your hang-ups a little bit as far as supposed. I was in radio for a long, long time, and I still don't like getting up in front of people and talking. I could talk to thousands of people on the radio, but if you get me in front of a crowd of 20, I'm gonna have to use the restroom before I go out there. I don't want to. I don't really necessarily want to see who I'm talking to. That's really good that you've been able to overcome that. The what you got going now though is a pretty decent stream. You've been able to get things rolling, playing the games and continuing. Have you been able to get yourself a good audience base, and are there folks you can rely on your streams day in and day out?
To be honest with you, I this is the biggest surprising thing about me. I think like a lot of people who come into streaming, they don't expect this, or rather, either they don't expect it or they expect it too much. I was one of those people that came in with no expectations of this. I said, "Hey, I like this game. I'm gonna stream it. Who knows? There might be people who enjoy it." Um, I have developed such a like. I would say that in a lot of ways, my audience is half and half. So they like bullying me, but yet they're protective.
Hmm.
So like if let's say that anyone else bully like if anyone else outside my collaborators bullies me, they're gonna get like all protective of me, but then on stream they're gonna bully me themselves. So it's really interesting to see that kind of dynamic happening.
That's the Big Brother syndrome. Big Brother can pick on the sister, but no one else can pick on the sister.
That's very true.
I know, having been a Big Brother, that's the way it works. The the would you say you play a lot of gotcha games? What are you into right now?
We are always playing Genshin Star Rail on my channel, and then
Mm.
recently we got into Wuthering Waves, and I'm waiting for Zenless Zone Zero to come out so we can play that as well.
So this Wuthering Waves, I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I've seen just a little bit online. I heard maybe there's a little bit of problems here and there sometimes with bugs in the game. Are you enjoying it, and is it living up to your expectations?
Truth to be told, yes and no.
Oh.
So I was actually strangely one of those people that did not have any form of lag during when I was playing it on the first day.
Mm.
My a lot of my friends were messaging me nonstop, complaining about the fact that, oh my gosh, every server is experiencing lag. I was like, well, I'm doomed. I have
Mm-hmm.
to stream this tonight. Went on there, and 3 hours there was no lag.
No.
So I was genuinely impressed. The combat is so amazing. The and overall it's just super surreal. In terms of no, because honestly, the story I feel is a bit lacking.
Mm. So that's not living up to your expectations. I mean, the gameplay is okay, but the storyline's not so good.
Yeah, and that's like I'm a very story kind of person, so it's like I really enjoy playing any game that has a really good storyline towards it. I feel like this is not appealing to me as much in terms of the storyline, but everything else, yeah, 100%.
So you think that they might be adding things to it later, like they've done with Genshin Impact? I mean, Genshin Impact isn't a new game, but they keep adding things to it and keeping people involved. You think they'll do that with this game?
Actually, a lot of these gacha games, the way that they keep people secure is this: the fact that they keep adding content, they keep adding storylines towards it. I don't know. I cannot say how it will go in the future because I'm not a time traveler. I don't see the future. Um, but if let's say that the storyline continues like this, it may make me lose a bit of interest. But as opposed to like because one of the biggest reasons why I play Genshin Starro, actually, it's strangely not because of the gacha. Yeah, the gacha system is fine. It's great. It's whatever.
Right.
Um, it's because I really enjoy the storyline, learning about these all these new characters and learning about the story. So I'm a little bit more biased, I'd say, towards MiHoYo games just because of how good the storyline is. Generally.
Oh, that's cool. And you see, there was another game you were waiting for. What was that one?
Yeah, this is from MiHoYo. It's Zenless Zone Zero. It's looking very good, actually. It's a apparently the people are saying it's the rival to Withering Waves. I'm not sure how true that is,
Mm.
but it is. I mean, it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to actually playing it.
Mm. So we'll be hearing about that pretty soon. I'm sure a lot of folks will be jumping on that bandwagon once it gets going. But at least you can always jump back to Star Rail and the other ones if you if you really want to, because
Yes.
those are just going to keep going.
Yeah,
And it
of
seems
course. I mean, have you seen Honkai Impact 3?
no, I have not.
Oh, so just to give perspective, 10 years later, they finished a singular story arc. Now they're going into a second story arc.
Now they're just
And it's like, and
starting
it's just like,
this
oh,
just starting now
okay,
into the
well,
second
we're
one.
gonna wait another 10 years.
Oh, wow, that's ancient as far as game concerns. That it keeps people involved and it keeps people enjoying the game, and see people
It
streaming it
is.
a lot, and that's it tells you a lot about how the game plays and how easy it is for people to get absorbed into the storyline. And obviously, you're one of those folks that really does like a good storyline.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you do some writing too, don't you?
Yeah, so off stream, I'm a writer.
Hmm. And so do you use that? Is that kind of um, when you're watching and playing a game? Does that kind of work against you? I mean, are you kind of assessing their writing as you're going through the game?
As I said earlier, I really do enjoy a game with a good storyline, and that comes into the writing. So a writing of a game, in order to keep me involved, has to be good. In order to keep me coming back again and again and again. I forget, like for example, like the Final Fantasy series is
Mm.
a game that I really enjoy because of how good the writing generally is. The Kingdom Hearts storyline is something that will keep me involved forever, just because of how good the storylines are. So here's the thing, and I think that's a personal preference thing, like because I grew up as a writer. I grew up like reading a lot of stories and writing stories for myself. I'm a sucker for a good story.
Yeah, yeah. And I think if the story drives brings you in, you're kind of sometimes people are willing to overlook a little thing here and there as long as the story keeps you involved.
Present. That's kind of how I roll in terms of law games.
So you've been a dancer and a writer, and sounds like you've been quite an artistic person. Uh, multi-talented, one would say. Uh, this this kind of a format is really allowing you to get that performance thing out of your system, isn't it?
That it really is, because honestly, some people are just naturally drifting towards the sciences. I was born drifting towards the arts. I really enjoy anything artsy. I really enjoy anything creative. Anyone who sends me a math problem will find themselves going 1 plus 1 equals 5, and no one's gonna convince me otherwise. Like, okay, I'm just gonna give you a very simple example. Like, when you were younger, your parents would get you Legos, right? Like
Hmm.
those cute little Lego things. Now, my brother and I are the perfect example of scientific versus artistic. So my brother's very scientific. He will build all the like tractors and planes and stuff from Legos. And whereas comparatively to me, I'm gonna bring out the doohickey that you put food in, and then it pops out on the other side, and then it will put like everything on it, and then it will turn it into a magical fruit.
so,
Like,
well, he's putting together the models. You're coming up with something completely out of out of your head.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, and that, like my parents realized that just from seeing me build Legos, like the difference in like our approach to building Legos.
well, I mean, that's two different. It's two different, completely different views on the same thing. And if you can combine the two, you really got something going on. Really has a lot of invention coming out of that. But obviously, you're quite an artistic person. Do you do regular drawing art? Do you do painting, anything like that?
So interesting fact about that. I don't do art, so
Mm,
I don't draw.
mm.
I've never drawn. We didn't find out the reason for that until much later why I can draw, but I'm really imaginative when it comes to like words and actually being creative as a general factor. But I'm actually slightly colorblind,
Oh,
so I art for me is unfortunately it's one of those things where it's like actual art, like actually drawing, like graphic design. I don't know. I just don't have an eye for it. For me, it's like whenever somebody sends me something, I'm just like, it looks good, right? Like, unless it's just really, really bad or really distorted art,
mm.
I'm just like, oh yeah, it's art.
No, you haven't seen anything I've drawn yet.
I want to see that.
No, no, you don't. No, you
I
don't.
want to see that
No,
now.
no, no.
Like,
Yeah,
but I do a lot of fashion design.
yeah.
Like sometimes when I'm bored, one of my smaller hobbies is that I just draw fashion, like outfits for people.
Ah, so have you thought about doing that for your VTubers?
Oh, um, yeah, like I said, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So if I really want to get a different like outfit and stuff like that, I'm thinking it's a good concept for a future thing,
Yeah.
but not anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking more like designing it for others. Um, maybe not coming up with the actual uh, model to give to somebody, but designing it for other people. If you're already doing design now and you're on as a VTuber, maybe you can play those together.
This is where I come in to say that, like, sometimes not everything that you like to do in life has to become a job. So I like designing fashion. Doesn't mean that I really want it to be a design for other VTubers or anything like that. I just genuinely like it as a form of expression. I will never sell off stuff like that. And in the same way, like, yeah, my writing is a passion of mine, but then it's a way for me to also make money. But that doesn't mean like every single little hobby that I have should be a way for me to make money.
Well, that's absolutely true and very well put. And once you get something that you enjoy, and it becomes that grinding job like thing, you tend to not enjoy it nearly as much, and you kind of start walking away from it. And you definitely don't want to do that.
It depends, because I'm like, okay, so I've been privileged enough that I currently do a job that I love, and I'm still doing writing, and so writing is something that I can foresee myself doing in the long term. I think like when I was younger, a lot of people do tell you like, oh yeah, there are people who are gonna tell you turn your whatever you want into a hobby, like your hobby into your job. Um, I beg I plead the fifth on that, because you should turn your hobby into a job if you feel like you don't mind turning it into a job. So what I mean by that is that I have a job and it's writing, and that's basically a hobby turned job. I had a hobby to write and I turned it into a job, and I still love it. I still have a passion for it. I still wake up every single day and go, yeah, I'm gonna write this cool thing today. I'm just gonna do that and that today. But that doesn't necessarily mean everything should be that way, because if you turn every hobby into a job, then where's the enjoyment? There still needs to be a time when there needs to be things that you can step away from. So like for me, it's gaming, it's art, it's sometimes like just doing things that's just out of the blue, discovering new hobbies. And like I said, like if you feel like you can turn it into a job, that you can come in every day and go, I mean, it's a terrible day, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I really love writing, then yes, turn it into a job. But if you yourself know, like I feel like everybody knows themselves to a certain extent, you know, like, hey, I have a writing passion, but that does not necessarily mean I want to turn it into a job and spend every single day of my life writing.
Right.
Then please don't.
That's very well said and absolutely well put. And I hope the folks will take that into account when they're going into things. And not everything has to make you money. Sometimes you just enjoy it. And yeah, you don't have to read to. If you're reading to make money, it's one thing. If you're reading to enjoy it, it's another thing. You can put that to just about anything, in life. And,
Exactly.
yeah. Now, for your channel, have you got anything big planned coming up for the rest of the year?
Few things. Okay. So one. I will be in Annie Mangaki this year, so basically I'm gonna have a full-size standee of me. I will be there in person as well to do a meet and greet, to say hi to the fans and people there. By the way, for those of you who are not in Malaysia, Annie Mangaki is a Malaysian convention that kind of, in a lot of ways, it does feature VTubers as well. So every VTuber like who applies will get the standee, and then they will be able to like get merch of the VTuber, and then also like sometimes, not all, I personally will be there face to face to kind of meet whoever wants to meet me and say hi and maybe like take pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, that will be the first thing that I'm looking forward to this year. And then for our second anniversary, we have some stuff planned. I'm not gonna reveal too much towards that first, but I can tell you that it involves something new. I'm not gonna tell you what, but and also it's like when we hit 1,000 followers this year on my channel, I have this ready, by the way. I have recorded a cover song.
Oh.
To kind of release upon 1,000 followers.
It's hanging there waiting, folks.
Yeah, so that's like the minute that we hit 1,000, my mods are noting this. The minute that we hit 1,000, it will drop on the spot. So I'm just like, I'm holding that back. I'm like, yeah, you gotta wait for the 1,000. You gotta wait for the 1,000.
So you got that anticipation going, but you gotta wait. Well,
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon, Kiara. You're obviously a very talented person, and despite the fact that you might be not so outgoing off stream, you sound awfully outgoing on stream, and I do appreciate it. I thank you for coming on the show. We're going to have the links to all of your socials coming up on the description for the interview. But good luck the rest of the way here this year. Hope you get that 1,000 soon, because I want to hear that song.
We'll get there, and you will definitely hear that.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.